Hey, family, it's your girl, Chef Evelyn here, and I am back with another video. And in this video, I want to talk about letting go of the fear of food. And I will tell you a little story. I think some of you have heard this story. I think you may have heard this story before. I was diagnosed with cancer in 2016, and I got all these dietary restrictions put on me during my treatment time. And I remember walking into Whole Foods one day, and I was just so upset and I was so angry that I had all of these restrictions. And I remember the doctors were like, "But you're a chef, you can make this taste good." And I was like, that's not the point. I enjoy all of the foods. I am an equal opportunity eater. Okay. I like to eat all of the things. And so, to have all these restrictions put on me was very frustrating. I felt like it was stifling my creativity. I felt like it was stifling my enjoyment of food. And I felt like it was punishment for being an unhealthy eater before. So to speak,
I thought I was healthy, but that's another video. Most people think they're healthier than they actually are, and they are, in fact, not. Okay.
And so I remember going into Whole Foods and just standing there. I used to love going into Whole Foods prior to that and just looking around and being inspired. And what am I going to cook with? And what am I going to try? And what am I going to experiment with? And I remember having this laundry list of restrictions in my head. And I stood in Whole Foods and I cried, you guys. I cried. Yes, I cried. Real full on tears inside of Whole Foods because I was so frustrated, because at that point I had become afraid of food. I had become so paranoid that if I ate the wrong thing, I was going to die prematurely, or, it was going to make my diagnosis worse, or I was going to develop some other type of ailment, or it was going to do something weird to my body. And so I really had to do a lot of emotional work around letting go of the fear of food. And one of the things I decided to do was I decided to stop watching food documentaries. I think that a lot of those documentaries can have some good information in it. I think a lot of those documentaries are extreme. They're showing the most extreme circumstances. I think there are a lot of well-meaning people behind some of those documentaries. And I think some people are trying to instill fear. And so the first thing I did was I was like, you know what? I'm not going to watch any more food documentaries. It's not that I don't want to be informed, but I feel that there's less tragic and traumatic ways of being informed about what's going on with my food supply. So that was the first thing I started doing. And then I think I decided to not subscribe to any diets. I think there's a lot of diet trends going out right now. There's vegan, there's Whole30, there's always been vegetarian, there's paleo, there's keto, there's all these different diets. And I think that a lot of people are subscribing to these diets because they want to lose weight or they want to eat healthy. And one of the things that I teach in my Eat Out at Home University is that weight is not the only symptom of unhealth. That weight itself is not the issue. Being overweight is a symptom of unhealth. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's the only thing, because you can have some people who are slightly overweight who are significantly healthier than those who appear not to be. And so I felt like a lot of diets were just focused on aesthetic, like what size am I going to be, which I do think is important. I absolutely do think size does matter when it comes to weight. Not that everybody should be skinny or super slender, but I do think body fat percentage is important. And I just found that the diets were very restrictive, and I also felt that the culture around those diets were not welcoming. That if I was vegan one day and then I had a piece of chicken the other day, was I not accepted by the vegan people anymore? And if I didn't, if I wasn't vegan or vegetarian or paleo for the reasons that other people were, was I not included? And just felt very divisive. It almost had this kind of "you can't sit with us" feel to it. And that's never been what food has been about for me. Food has always been about inclusiveness and bringing people to the table and enjoying different points of view. So I'm not necessarily anti anyone who subscribes to those diets, but I also don't associate myself with any of those diets. And I follow people who are vegan, and I follow people who are paleo or vegetarian, a Whole30, or people who are frying chicken and frying fries and duck fat. I like all of the things. I think I had to get to a place of understanding the difference between defensive eating and offensive eating. And defensive eating was all about what you couldn't have, what you couldn't eat, what you couldn't enjoy, what you couldn't do. And I got to a point where I had reached my limit of what I wanted to eliminate. And it started to feel not fun to me anymore. And as a chef and as a foodie and as someone who really enjoys connecting with people over the food, I even started to dislike the label of healthy cooking and healthy food, because I felt like it had this negative connotation to it about what food was. And I always felt like food has been meant to be enjoyable. It's something that we need to do several times a day. It's something that we should do in community at the table together. It's something that we should slow down and enjoy. And I just had this hard time believing that God wanted it to be this really restrictive, really lackluster, really painstaking experience, whether that was preparing it being painstaking, whether it was figuring out what you could eat. And I just didn't agree with that. And so I decided I just didn't want to be a healthy cooking chef, that I just wanted to be a chef that cooked good food that tastes good, food that looked good, and the food that was good for you. I'm all about good food. I'm all about good food that sometimes just tastes good, but may not all the time be the best for you. I am also all about food that is really good for you that sometimes may not taste as good as you would like it. And I view it like a vitamin. And so I had to really look at food from an offensive standpoint, like what am I going to eat? What am I going to incorporate into my diet to make me healthier and live longer and, melanin popping? You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I going to incorporate? And when I really started looking at food and a healthier lifestyle from the lens of what am I going to start eating, and what am I going to start incorporating, and what am I going to start trying, and what am I going to start experimenting with, versus what I couldn't eat and what I couldn't have, I think the game significantly changed for me and food became fun again. And I will tell you, I had decided to not teach any of my courses anymore, because I felt like I was in this box of I had to be this healthy eating chef and I only could do certain things. And if I wanted to do a pound cake and share that, people would be like, I thought you said that you didn't eat, butter, or that you didn't drink cow's milk. It's like, well, 99% of the time I don't do dairy, but when I'm making a cake, I'm going to use milk. Like I didn't like the rules. And maybe you can feel me, maybe you can relate. And I didn't want to go into the store and be fearful. I wanted to be smart. I wanted to be educated, but I wanted to make choices that worked for where I was in my culinary journey, for where I was in my health journey, and for my lifestyle. And so I just want to invite you to do the same, that let's end this fear of food and get back to food being enjoyable, and it can be beneficial to us at the same time. Let's get back to enjoying preparing food. Like this notion that preparing food has to be this labor intensive, exhausting chore is just untrue. Most of the time people that feel that way, that's just because they don't know what they're doing, which is why I'm here. Okay, no judgment, but that's why I'm here. And so I wanted to do this video just to talk about let's let go of the fear of food and let's just get back to good food and good fun. And if you're with me, let me know in the comments of this video. I hope you're following me on Instagram and on Facebook, or if you're not watching this video on YouTube, I hope you're subscribed to my YouTube channel. You can find me on Instagram at Instagram.com/Chef Evelyn. So if you just type in Chef Evelyn, you can find me on Instagram. Same thing on Facebook. I'm Facebook.com/Chef Evelyn. And you can find me on YouTube at YouTube.com/Chef Evelyn TV. And make sure you join the Eat Out at Home Challenge, how to break the cycle of eating out in just 7 days. There's recipes in there, there's cooking videos in there, and there's tips on how to not only cook better, eat healthier, but also how to enjoy some gourmet every day while bringing your friends and family back to the table. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I am happy to say that I have released my fear of food and I don't have it anymore. And I'm back to loving the gift of cooking and sharing food with others without this fear. And I hope it has helped you do the same. And I'll see you in my next video. Peace.